Hi, my name is Becky Turbyville, and I'm an instructor of business communication at Bossier Parish Community College in Bossier City, Louisiana. And today I want to talk to you about one of the most important documents that you'll ever have to write, and that is your resume. So what exactly is a resume? A resume is a brief, persuasive business message that's meant to showcase your education, skills, and experience. Did you know that an experienced hiring manager may only look at your resume for about 8 seconds? 8 seconds may be all the time that you have to make a good first impression. So you have to make sure that your resume is organized, easy to read, and error-free. So let's talk about some of the major components of the resume. The first section of the resume is your contact information and your name. Your name needs to be the most prominent font on the page. You want to bold type this font, maybe a font size of 18 or 22 so that it really pops off the page. Underneath your name, you want to have your full mailing address. Believe it or not, this is an area where students make some careless mistakes. Underneath your mailing address, you want to have a working phone number. It's fine if you want to include your cell phone number, but just remember, these are potential employers who may be calling you. So you need to leave an outgoing voice message that sounds professional. An employer doesn't want to call your cell phone and listen to music for 30 seconds. Underneath your phone number, you need to include a professional email address. Don't use your student email address because you won't always be a student. And don't include the email address that you use at a current job. This needs to be your own private email address, and you can get free email addresses at many sites online. Don't have a name like baseballfan123@something.com. It needs to be professional and include your name in the email address. Now, underneath your contact information, you may want to include an introductory statement. You may have heard of this as an objective. Now, if you ask 5 different people, you may get 5 different responses on whether or not you should include an objective. For a recent college graduate, an objective can be useful to an employer because it helps them know where you might fit in the organization. You have to be very careful about how you word this phrase. It's not all about you. You want to make this phrase about what you can do for the employer. Now, as you progress through your career, this introductory statement or objective may actually turn into a personal branding statement. So, for example, if you have several years of experience in sales, your introductory statement may read something like professional, experienced, outside sales representative. So it just depends on what stage you're in your career. Now, the next section of your resume will be your education. And this is a section where you have to pay very careful attention to titles and dates. If you are earning a degree from Bossier Parish Community College, let's say, for example, you're a student in the College of Business, you are earning an Associate of Applied Science in Business Administration. You need to have the full name of the degree that you're earning. Now, if you're still a student and you haven't graduated yet, you need to include the words anticipated graduation date or candidate, and that shows that you haven't graduated yet. Underneath the name of your degree, you want to have the full name of your institution, so Bossier Parish Community College. And then you need to have the city and state, Bossier City, Louisiana. Now, you might also want to include your grade point average in this section. You don't have to, but if your grade point average is a 3.0 or above, you may be very proud of that, and you want to show that on the resume. Just make sure that you include the scale. For example, 3.0 on a 4.0 scale. Now, underneath your education, you're going to list your experience. This might also be called work history, relevant skills, but any jobs that you've held, part-time jobs, any clubs that you've been in, if you've been a full-time student, any activities you've been involved in, you'll list here. So for example, if you have been a salesperson at a store in the mall, you're going to list the full name of your employer, your title, and the dates that you worked there. And now it's very important that you get the dates correctly. If you have forgotten the time frame that you worked at a certain employer. That's the time where you need to pick up the phone and make a few phone calls and make sure you get this date range very precise. Now, underneath the name of your employer and your title, then you want to include some brief statements that showcase achievements that you've made on the job. You don't want to write this in full paragraph form. You want to just have some short bullet points. Now, there's a big difference between achievements and duties. Anybody can just write duties. If you were a salesperson in the mall, maybe one of your duties was to sell to customers, distribute materials in the mall, hang up the stock in the store, those types of things. Employers don't want to, they don't want to read about that. They want to know what specific tangible achievements have you made on the job. So for example, if you exceeded your sales goals by 25% each quarter, that's an achievement. If you've won a contest, if you've been awarded outstanding employee of the month, anything like that is going to show that you are a valued employee. Now, underneath your experience, you may want to list some activities and honors. While you're in college, maybe you were involved in some student organizations. Maybe you've won some awards for a writing contest, or perhaps you made the dean's list. This would be a good place to list these honors. Now, one thing that you don't see at the bottom of this resume is the phrase references available upon request. And the reason for that is that that's an outdated practice. Employers know that you're going to have references. Something else to consider, as you progress in your career, the order that these items appear on your resume may change. You have to think of your resume as a working document. It's a work in progress. In fact, experts suggest that you should look at your resume and update it at least once a year, because some things may have changed. So for example, maybe when you're a recent college graduate, the biggest selling feature for you is your education. But as you get more experience, your education may be less of a selling point and your experience becomes more of a selling point. And so that may need to move up on the resume. So just remember, you only have about 8 seconds to make a good first impression with your resume. So make it a great one.